Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at NECA's Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Wanderer. This is a figure which I know a lot of people are kind of excited about, and I was looking forward to it until I saw the way they did the chest, and I'm a little bit weird about that. It's like it doesn't look like a NECA product. It's very strange. We'll talk about that in a minute, but otherwise, besides that one thing, it's a pretty solid figure. If you're into this line, I think you're going to be excited, so there's some good stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. Alrighty, before we get into the figure, let's take a look at my package. Here we have the front. There is no flap on this one, just the basic variety. You have the text here. A little bit of artwork here, doesn't show too much, but it still looks nice. All the comic stuff is just aces for me. I love NECA's comic turtles. There's another one like that, a whole bunch. There you go. On this side, we get the full body artwork, which is something I want to mention. He has straps on him. I'll just zoom in. You can see a strap right there, and then one that goes up towards his sword there. And they are clearly separate straps, not part of his outfit. All right, and then you can see the figure on the back here. Nothing too crazy. Nothing there, nothing there. Okay, so let's get into the aesthetic. All right, first question of the day. Which of the we'll just do that too. Which of the turtle lines is your favorite from NECA? Live action, cartoon, or comic? And then you can include the Archie ones if you want to. But for me, I mean, the live action is the thing I like the most as far as the IP goes, but the figures just look so cool from the comics, so I think I might go with those. Okay, so I mentioned the straps on the artwork because this to me is just the most ridiculous looking thing ever. The way the straps are sculpted in. I could live with this one maybe, the belt area, but these straps, especially the way they don't sit proud at all. They're just flush. They don't have the same texture, of course, but they don't sit up at all. They're not like embossed, and they're skewed. Like they're stretched down here, and they're not even everywhere. So to me, that looks just horrible. I guess if it's on a shelf and you're at a distance, it's not going to look too bad, but I really, with a searing passion, hate that. Obviously, I'm being overly dramatic, but it doesn't look right. And for NECA, that's really unusual. They almost always go the extra mile, and in this case, it's like they went the extra mile in the wrong direction. It's very strange. Let me know what you guys think about this strap situation. I do not like it. There's lots of other stuff to like, but we'll get into that in a minute. Let's do our height measurement before we forget. This guy stands about 14.75 centimeters. That's going to be roughly, we'll call it 5 7/8. It's right around there. Here he is up against a Darwin from Marvel Legends, so probably in scale well enough with your 1/12 scale stuff. Okay, aesthetics, other than the straps. Love the paint job. He's got a nice dark green skin, and we do have airbrush shading throughout to bring him to life. It's not the most purposeful shading though, so that's a bit annoying. You get weird spots that are hot and then spots that aren't right next to him, so it's a little bit weird, but it's better than not having it, so I'll give him that. And then I think the thing that stands out the most, well, I guess there are three more things that stand out the most. I don't know which one stands out the most. I really like the straps on the arms. That's what I was gonna say, but then there's other stuff too. The sculpt work is really nice. The paint work is nice. There's obviously the base paint, then there's a wash, then there's also the line work. And so that's the thing, is the line work is one of the other things. Everything's lined up real nice, all comic style-y. Love that, looks really good. And then the third thing that I was going to say is that it does have a wash over, really nice texture for both the straps and the main outfit. So it looks really good. Paint on the face is clean. I have a little scuff on my nose. I mean, that's going to happen with mass production, but I hate that kind of thing. But the teeth are painted cleanly enough. Same thing for the eyes. So yeah, very pleased with the overall aesthetic. It does definitely borrow a few parts, I think, from the Chonky 4-pack, the Raphael 4-pack. At least in the thighs and knees. And I don't mind it as much. Like, they're definitely too thick, but it still looks okay. So yeah, aesthetically speaking, this is a good looking one, other than this, which to me destroys the look completely. So, 2 ratings for aesthetic. 1, if you don't care about this, 9 out of 10. Looks wonderful. Everything's great except for this, which means with that, if you're including that, I'm going to knock it down to a 5, because that is just, I don't like that at all. It would have looked so much better with actual straps, or at least even if they were just sculpted in, sit them a little bit proud and make them uniform. The whole thicker down here and skinny up here thing looks weird. Okay, so let's move on to the accessories. He comes with 2 fist hands on him in the package, then you get 2 gripping hands and 2 open hands. None of them have vertical hinges for accessories. That's really frustrating. It's going to be hard to pose this guy in a cool way. And then you do get a variety of weapons. You get the pole arm, which is like a bow with a blade connected to it. You get the kama right there. That's a little hooky blade thing. And then you get 2 swords. Then you get a set of nunchaku, or nunchucks. And that's a good enough spread of accessories. Yeah, I'm guessing that's everything he should have. I haven't read this. I don't know much about it. No sai, but we do get the kama and then the bladed bow. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Is the Wanderer, he's got Leo's swords. Is it the same person who becomes the Ronin? I don't want to spoil things for people who don't know as much as I do, which is hard to do, but I don't know. Is the Wanderer and the last Ronin the same character, or is it a different character? I don't get it. I don't know. There's so much weirdness going on in the Turtle comics, and I don't read them. All right, so accessory-wise, we'll go 8 out of 10. Pretty good. Okay, let's talk about the articulation. Head is on a double ball peg. I don't know if the neck's articulated. I can't quite get in there, and it doesn't really want to wiggle. But the head moves around as well as it can, given the fat face. I mean, it's a really wide, fat face, so it's going to get in the way of posing. But being on ball pegs, it does work as well as it can, and that's pretty good. I'll take it. Shoulders are standard shoulders. Ooh, very, very tight. Let's see. Okay, I can't get either of them up higher than that. I sure hope that... Yeah, they're not going any higher than that. So maybe if you heat them, you can get them a little bit higher. I always review things as they are right out of the package, unless there's like some kind of obvious thing I need to fix, in which case I'll let you know. But this is how he comes out of the package. So heating it might work better, but for those of you who don't want to mess with your figures or risk breaking them, this is what you can expect. All right, so you get your rotation, not counting where these are. They are flexible, but not really. So be aware of that. Bicep swivel. Oh, that feels breaky. Careful with that. Okay, that one goes. Usually on a bicep swivel, you can feel if it's gonna like snap free and then just rotate fine. That's what this one did. This one, I'm feeling a little bit of twist. And so that could easily be a shear situation where you rotate this and just tear the peg right off. What you wanna try to do is heat this and give it a little bit of a tug. Don't yank on it, but if you give it a little bit of a tug, it should pull on the arm part. It'll pull on the peg a little bit too, but the heat should soften things up and it should pop it free. You're not trying to take it off. You're just trying to give it a little bit of a tug and then let it cool. And then you should be able to rotate the arm free. Try that a couple times if you're having some trouble. All right, double jointed elbows. Let's see what kind of range we get. Actually pretty good range. It's better than 90. You might even be able to eke a little bit more out of that with some finagling, but that's a pretty good elbow. The elbows themselves are kind of ugly. Yeah, there's like a shelf there, but functional, so that's okay. I like that. Obviously the wrists have a swivel and a hinge. Again, no vertical hinge. Torso articulation comes down here just like the 4-pack of Raphael's did. I hope people know that that's a joke. I think it's a pretty good joke I made, but other people who don't get jokes are probably going to be like, oh no, they're not Raphael, there's 4 turtles, they have different personalities, but the same headband. Okay, that's the nerd voice. Usually spoken by Naruto people. All right, so you get the ball peg. It's actually a double ball peg. You get all kinds of range out of that, relatively speaking, so that's pretty good, and it's not loose. Hips are on ball sockets, also not loose. I like that. That's about as far as you're going to get them without really cranking on them and trying to flex stuff and messing up the paint. So a little better than 45, not the most we've ever seen, but probably good enough. Going forward, when you try to move a leg, the whole apparatus, including the hips and everything, moves. Just because this ball in here is a little bit looser. So if you just hold it in place, you can move the leg. And his loincloth is just too much in the way. Also, the inner workings of his groinal area, not giving him the best range ever. Let's see. That's about the max in either direction. So it's like acceptable, but they are Ninja Turtles. So definitely would have been better to have better range. Thigh swivel is nice. Little turtle dangler is fine. It is a tail, for those of you wondering. Don't get any ideas. All right, and then the double jointed knee should be the same basically as before. Pretty good range. Not great, but good enough, I would say. And lastly, we have our ankle, which maybe you can heat it up and stretch it over the ankle wraps to get a little bit of extra range, but I can't get it any farther back than that right now. And going forward, same thing. You're not going to really get any range out of that unless you can get it over these wraps, and this is harder PVC, so without some heat, it's not happening. Ankle rocker is fairly crooked, but it is there. So his articulation is definitely not the strong suit. It's there. It's enough to get him into some sort of a pose, but you're not going to be like, oh man, this is the most fun thing I've ever posed. It's not going to happen unless you've like never posed any figure with good articulation. So his articulation is going to get a 6 out of 10. It's enough to be okay. It is an action figure. It's fine, but it's certainly not impressive and not that useful, which is usually what NECA goes for: accessories and aesthetics over articulation. Okay, so final verdict on this guy. I personally really like it, other than those straps on the chest. If somebody has a good explanation for that, I'd love to hear it, but don't just be like, well, it's supposed to be that way, because it doesn't look like that in the artwork they put on the box. So it's not supposed to be that way. Maybe something similar, but like, I would love to hear a good explanation. I don't think that it exists, though. Alright, so I'm going to give this guy a final rating of, not counting this, 8 out of 10. Including this, because it is front and center, I'm going to bop it down to a 7. It's still a solid release, and I think once you pose him, it's not going to stand out too much. But we have to be as objective as possible here, and it is a problem. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.